Nobody's ever asked me that question. Huh. I guess I would say yes. I would say yes because... So you guys are gone. Can you still see me? I got a bottle of
Sorry.
She moves.
No, I'm a beautiful lady in a lovely blue top.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, because every time you cry, as long as you're not clinically depressed in a straitjacket, I think every time you cry is healthy and cleansing. And look, let's face it. When you go to a movie and cry, aren't you really crying not just for the movie, but for some other pain?
Yeah, yeah. Especially if it's a movie you could see yourself in. Yeah.
Yes. And so I would have to answer yes to your question. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. And
are you about to have a baby? Are you about to have that baby?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we get a zoom in on the belly?
Can you zoom in on that baby?
Yeah, zoom in on the belly.
I don't know if I can.
Honey, that baby looks like she's ready to arrive today.
She's only 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
She has 2 weeks to go.
I don't think she can see you, Alina.
Really? She's pointing outward. That's what, like,
yeah.
There's no way for her to go but straight out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she 2 weeks?
Yes.
Is she?
It's a boy. It's a boy.
I'm sorry.
Is he a boy?
Yes.
And is he due in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yes.
Bless your heart.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm glad you don't have to go through this summer.
Me too.
Oh, but she'll just have a newborn in the summer. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
If I could take one over the other, I think I'd take the newborn in the summer than the, but you know, whatever. I think it's really hard to carry an extra 40 pounds through 90-degree heat. I'm sorry. I think that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's torture. I just have, I can't remember my other question, unfortunately, but I do have one last question. Is there anything that you would like to recommend for new writers?
Wanting to do what? Wanting to write a book?
Yeah, wanting to write a book. Like certain things they may want to keep in mind, or, you know, as far as staying positive and instead of being discouraged, you know, projection, or just a general outlook that they should have when as approaching the book.
Or a career path, like how should they, you know, start their careers? Should they get into? Because I know you said that you wrote short stories. Like, what would you recommend for someone who wants to eventually write a book? What career choices should they go into? Should they start in the mailroom? You know, should they just write columns? You know, what should they do?
You know what I think is so critical, and I sound like an old lady teacher when I say this. I think you have to read constantly, or at least read steadily, writing that you admire. So writing that inspires you, and also writing that you would like to be like. It's sort of like the muse, you know. Do any of you play a musical instrument or sing?
Nope. No artistic ability at all.
Oh, hush. I don't believe it for a minute. So I think if you bake or cook or whatever, it's sort of like watching somebody who really knows what they're doing. I think if you're reading stuff that you really like, it feeds your process without you even knowing how or why it does. And then the other piece of that that's more practical is simply to go to conferences, go to workshops, go to writing classes, just go to things that make you write and produce and hone your craft. If you do those two things, there's no way that you cannot end up writing better. And really that's the goal. Every single writer wants to write better and just be better than what he or she is, even if they get a book published or 10,000 books published.
Right.
I think those are the things that fed me the most.
Okay. And, like, what do you do on your free time?
Oh, free time. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I'm always curious to find out what authors do to, like, relax, considering, you know, their busy schedule. Like, what do you do?
Well, I'm a workaholic. I own a public relations agency, and that's killer.
Yeah.
I freelance write for 4 or 5 different publications, so that's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beginning to feel like I want to work on this next book that I've already drafted.
Mm-hmm.
2 years of my life have been sucked up with Cheap Cabernet, and I'm not complaining. Hallelujah that it turned out the way it did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I'm sort of taking this summer for the first summer in 2 years, actually 3 years now, and to relax. I don't know, writers live in their heads. I hang out with friends, with family. I do what everybody else does. I eat a lot. You know, it's summertime, so I like to garden. So I'm trying for the first summer in 3 years to have a regular person life.
Right. Now, would you consider this as exhaling?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly it. For the first time in 3 years. For the first time in 3 years, that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's good.
So I'd like to know what you guys do. How does this book club come to be?
Well,
and what do you do when you're not reading books?
Well, actually, it's funny. It's quite similar to the way you placed your columns in the newspaper.
Right.
I was reading series and series of books, and I just really didn't have anyone to discuss it with. And I said, you know what?
Right.
There's no local book club near me, so I'm just going to start my own book club. And so I did it. I started through the internet, and I have my number one supporter, which is the pregnant one. You see, Tanya. She's been to every meeting, and she's been extremely supportive. And
holy moly, I love. Yeah. Oh, you're just like touching my heart. Yeah. I love that.
So I definitely connected to your book. I definitely connected to it. I thought it was really good. Very good book.
Thank you. You know what? Thank you for being responsive and supportive and upbeat and getting it. That's really it.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Mm-hmm.
It means the world, you know, because you never know. You never know. You just don't know what's going to strike a chord and what's not. You really don't.
Right.
I think that's one of the things that most of us, the book struck a chord. Like, we've seen some of ourselves in the book, and so that is one of the things that make you enjoy it so much. So, you know, you just took us down memory lane.
Wow. It means the world, girls. Really, I'm not kidding. I love that you're just that kind of girl that would say, you know what, I want to talk to somebody about these books that I read, so I'm going to go get somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And here you all are. Here you are. What are you reading next? Do you have a book lined up?
Yeah. Actually, we're reading Save Me by Lisa Scalini. Scalini? Can you see it?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you say it again.
I said Save Me by Lisa.
I don't know it. Is it memoir? What?
No, this is a fiction. This is work of fiction.
I think she's like a lawyer or detective.
Yes. What's the best book you've read in this past year?
Oh, hands down.
Cheap Cabernet.
Well, I mean, in the past, it was True Colors, by Kristen Hanna.
No,
Have you heard of Kristen Hanna?
I have not.
I read the Cleopatra book.
So should I read that?
Yes, you should.
Cleopatra's Daughter is my favorite.
Cleopatra's Daughter.
Yeah.
That's the best one to me. Do you have a certain type of book that you like to read?
You know, I'm a voracious reader, and I've got a master's degree in literature and Russian lit, so, you know, I feel like I'm bestsellers aren't necessarily those books that I think are extraordinary.
Right.
I was a books reviewer for the Rocky Mountain News for years.
Wow.
And let me tell you, some of the schlock that I had to review made me want to kill myself, especially when I couldn't get my own book published. That was really
yeah.
Right,
but
right.
I do, I spent a lot of time, and I've always loved the really brilliant memoir, a true story that's written well. I don't know, there's something extra about that. I've read a lot of fiction, loads of fiction. I mean, my degrees are in literature. But there's something in the true story.
What did she break it off?
Yeah.
That man in the Rockefeller suit.
Okay.
It's a true story of a guy who made up his identity. He had 12 different personas, and every time he made one up, he would make himself more blue blood and rich, and he ended up being a Rockefeller.
Oh.
And then it all came to a head, and he was the most brilliant liar, I think. I mean, there's something extraordinary about that, what he was able to do. The guy was a private member to all of the exclusive clubs on the East Coast, and he was an immigrant. He was full of baloney. And so I just thought that was a fascinating story. So,
what was the title of that?
What guys reading? Do you read fiction, nonfiction in your club, or do you?
Anything. Anything that's interesting.
Yeah. How do you pick? Who picks?
We do votings. We have everyone select. Well, they suggest 2 books, and then I mix and match the books into groupings, and then they have to vote on which grouping they want to read.
Excellent.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to read True Colors. Thank you all. Thank you so much for reading Cheap Cabernet Friendship.
Oh, see?
Thank you, Tashina, for just being a sweetheart
Oh.
through this whole process. What's that baby's name?
She's not selling.
Xavier.
Uh-oh. Yay!
Oh, Xavier, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was on sale at the Cheap Cabernet Book Club. My dog is scratching me. Here's my dog. Here your face. Forget it. Congratulations, Xavier and Mommy to be. Is it your first?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tashina. And what's the other lady's name?
Oh, Helena.
Helena,
Helena.
thank you. I really enjoyed speaking with you today.
Can you see her?
Thank you, thank you, all of y'all. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.
You
Good luck with
too.
that new book.
Wait. What's the next one? Your new book. You said you're working on a new book?
Yes.
Do you have a name for it?
No.
No. Shia exclusive.
It's called Xavier.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I'll be sure and let you know about it.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Definitely.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right. So, my face is hurting. So that was the end of the Skype interview with Cathie Beck, and reference to her book, Cheap Cabernet. And she's also been so kind to offer our book club a bottle of wine, which is, of course, Cabernet Sauvignon, 2008, and it's from Denver, Colorado. Yummy. So we're going to feast into that, and so we'll see you next time with the next author, which would be...
Lisa's got one.
No, she's in
That's
October. I'll think of it next time.
Okay.
I can't remember. But that's it. See ya.